everyone, this is Peak Entertainment and we are back again. I'm going to talk now about football, and this will be a match review of the recent encounter between Liverpool and Arsenal. And as usual with all these videos on here, I will be talking in depth about the match details. So if you don't know the result yet, I advise you to stop watching this video now, go away, catch up with the highlights wherever you're watching, and then come back to this match report overall. So overall then, a very disappointing result for Arsenal, kind of a reality check and back down to earth as they lose at Anfield 3-1. And really overall this was a match where you're clearly faced with superior opposition. I think that's the best way to summarise this match really. Arsenal, they didn't play awful. This wasn't a disgrace by any means or necessary, because Liverpool haven't lost at Anfield for 3 years now, they stated in the commentary. So Arsenal join pretty much most of the teams within the league having gone to Anfield and not picked up 3 points. So no real shame or disgrace, I don't think, but I just think again it's just a reality check and a realisation that I think again Arteta really should have been more active within the transfer market. And if we go over the match quickly, Liverpool were dominant really early in the first half and Arsenal were pinned in, they couldn't really get out. This is more due to the strategy and the tactics that Arteta had adapted. He clearly wanted to play on the break, on the counter-attack, kind of pack the midfield in, let Liverpool attack, and then use kind of Aubameyang and Maitland-Niles on the flanks to try and counter and get through. But Arsenal really couldn't get a hold of the ball. Every time they were trying to play out from the back, but as we all know, Liverpool adopted this very high intense pressure game and it was getting to Arsenal. Tierney really struggled on the wing against Salah a lot of the times. He couldn't pick him up, he couldn't see where he was. He wasn't really getting a lot of help or protection from Maitland-Niles on that side either. So yeah, it was a bit hard and tough going for Arsenal, particularly in the first half. So we go on to the 20th minute here and we had a great strike for Alexander-Arnold. It was going straight, so I think Leno would have covered it, but it was deflected by Bellerin and it hit the crossbar. Willian again had a shot after Arsenal were trying to play it out the first half, and that was saved by Leno as well. So at this point Liverpool really dominant, and then out of the blue really Lacazette scores. There was a counter-attack, nice. Maitland-Niles was on the wing. He really selected the wrong pass, he was trying to square it, but luckily it came off Robertson, and because of that Lacazette wasn't offside, so he managed to spin away and finish. And this was really against the run of play, and you think Arsenal would hopefully settle down and get a bit more confident and get a bit on the ball. But as typical Arsenal, when they normally score, they normally concede straight away within a couple of minutes, and that's exactly what happened. In the 27th minute, it was really poor defending. Liverpool were kind of running through. Mane was running through and Luiz was trying to pull him back. The ref could have blown a whistle, but he let it go. And Tierney, as I mentioned before, really struggled to get his bearings against Salah, who ran in behind him to strike it. Lennon managed to save it, but it deflected off and Mane tapped it in for 1-1. We then go on to the 33rd minute and again Liverpool on top and they got into the lead for 2-1. It was really another defensive error, I feel, because it was a cross from Alexander-Arnold and the two of the three defenders, they really got sucked into the ball. There was already defenders there looking to head the ball, but because the two other defenders have come in and trying to head the ball away, they left Robertson completely free in the box and he's managed to get through on the cross and then tap it in to make it 2-1. We then really go on to the second half. Liverpool were really dominant again, and there was the key instant when we had Lacazette. He was through on goal, but he was offside. He's gone to try and chip it, but Alisson has saved it. There was another instant when Van Dijk had a good strike, but it was saved by Leno again. Really great strike from Van Dijk. I think it's about 15-20 yards, but that previous chance from Lacazette really told its tale, because shortly afterwards in his 62nd minute he had a great chance again. He was through on goal. He's tried to take a touch around the keeper and I think he's realised he wasn't in enough space to curl it around the keeper, so he tried to quickly hit it again and it's straight at him, and that was the key chance. And as harsh as it sounds, when you're in a game like this, when you're under pressure, you're getting few and far chances in between, you've really got to take whatever opportunities you can. And despite the spat he scored in the first half, that was the key and pivotal moment. If Lacazette had managed to score, then maybe Liverpool had got a bit nervous, they'd take a bit more risks. Arsenal may have been able to expose them more on the break, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. Shortly after that, Mane had another chance when Liverpool, again, they were kind of cutting through Arsenal. He turned and it just put it just wide on him. Arteta did make a couple of changes. He took off Willian and brought on Ceballos, I think, and that was a much better in the midfield. Ceballos actually had a good impact in the second half. He was getting on the ball a lot more, and because he's a lot more of a controlled passer, he was actually creating just a few half opportunities for the team. Later on, Lacazette got taken off for Nketiah, and he was disappointed. Now, I hope he doesn't get too criticism, because at the end of the day, he still scored, right? And all the hype about Aubameyang himself was barely in the game. He barely had a touch. And you can't really criticise Lacazette too much. Yes, it was a critical chance, and there will be some that saying, well, for 50 million, he should be putting all his chances away. But at least he scored, right? Aubameyang barely was in the game. So I just hope Lacazette doesn't get a lot of criticism too much for that missed opportunity, considering he did score. So we go on again, and really Arsenal, they're not really out of the game, but they're not really making inroads too much into the game either. And we go on late into the 88th minute, and we have a corner from Liverpool. It comes out to Salah, they cross it in, and then it heads away by Luiz. Not a very good strong header, and then the Ota kind of knees it and then half volleys it into the bottom corner, and that was really it then. That was really game over at that point. There was no real way Arsenal were going to come back. There was the one bit of involvement that Aubameyang had throughout the game. He was kind of through on goal. He tried to check on side. You thought he was going to try and bend it in, what he normally does typically, but he's tried to kind of pass it on to Nketiah, but Liverpool got closed down by then as well. And that was it really, just game over. And as I said before, no real disgrace. I hope they don't get too criticised, because at the end of the day, as I mentioned at the start of this video, you're just faced with a superior team. I think Liverpool are going to win it again. You know, the nearest challengers so far aren't really showing any signs of confidence. Man City, Man United, Chelsea, they're all a bit struggling a bit. I know it's only 3 games in, but still Liverpool looking strong. I don't really expect Leicester or Everton to put a sustained challenge in for the title this year, but Liverpool are clearly the strongest team in the league, and they showed it. It showed it again here today. And I think what it told more than anything else is that, again, Arteta really needs to move on a transfer market. And I say that because when you go to adapt this kind of strategy, you want to play a smash and grab counter-attack. What you need is strong midfielders who can get on the ball, shield the ball, take the pressure off your back four. They can break up the play, win a few 50-50 tackles, okay, make a few half fouls here or there, just to break up the momentum of the opposing team. And Arsenal didn't have any of that. You know, Willian, Ceballos, Luiz, they're not big or strong enough midfielders to really shield the ball and help protect the team and just buy him a couple of minutes, give him a bit of breathing space. Arsenal, they just don't have that personnel of player to be able to do that. And it's kind of ironic because what they really needed as well was a kind of an Olivier Giroud type of player. Someone who, if you needed to, you could just hoof the ball up and they can get a flick on, shield the ball, bring it down, maybe win a foul, win a free kick, win a throw in, win a corner. And that kind of typical more number 9. And Arsenal were trying to play their way through. And it only works really when Liverpool were kind of pressing forward and maybe got a bit lapse on the wings. But you really need, like I said, to make sure you've got that strength of player if you're going to play this way. And Arsenal didn't have that in that personnel. And that's ultimately why they got overrun in the midfield and couldn't really make an impression going forward. So it's just something for really Arteta to really, well, think about. He should have really thought about it more weeks or months ago, really. So yeah, just a bit of a reality check, a bit of a wake-up call. I think more for Arteta and any supporters who are getting a bit overly excited that thinking Arsenal were maybe going to make any sort of sustained title challenge. Not too bad. I think Arsenal are 5th at the moment, so it's early days, only 3 weeks. So it's the first loss of the season, isn't it? So they've done really well up to this point. So you can't really criticise them too much. Let's just hope they just bounce back in the next couple of weeks. I think we've got Sheffield United and Man City in the next couple of games. So hopefully they can bounce back and just progress forward. But Arteta, he needs to make some sort of silence. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I think the transfer window closes early October, mid-October, but he needs to really move, and this game really told him that if they really want to make any kind of progression, he needs to get stronger strength and goal in the middle of the park, because what he's got out there at the moment just isn't enough. So those are my thoughts on Arsenal's defeat to Liverpool 3-1. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think Arsenal are still good enough to make any sort of challenge, or do you still think they need to make improvements and reinforcements? Do you think Arteta's not doing enough, or do you think it's not necessarily him, it's the board that are maybe hindering him in making signing players? Or do you think, again, they're not really being clear-cut and decisive enough in their negotiations and their activity within the transfer market? So that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay at safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.